Hello. It is Friday, the 14th of October, and welcome back to Bits of Crypto. Hello, Miles. How are you, my friend?
I'm pretty good. I'm just chilling in the countryside right now. I'm sitting in front of the door. I'm not in my usual setup, but yeah, what a crazy 24 hours in crypto. We had like a massive dump, a massive pump again post CPI. So it's been pretty much the most volatile market we've seen in a while, which in a way is good because it's been boring for a while. So at least us traders have had a little bit of action on that front.
Well, let's get without further ado, as they would say, let's get into it. So let's rewind about not even 24 hours where Bitcoin seemed to do this and literally just fall off a cliff and disappear right before we had the CPI data released for the last month. And it was yet again up by, Up by 0.4%. And that was above obviously expectation. Expectation was 8.1. We got 8.2. So again, it was pretty bad news, but for some reason, the market has counter-reacted that. What do you reckon about that? This V-shaped recovery is pretty crazy right about now.
You know, it was very interesting. It just goes to show the propensity of markets to price in these type of events before they happen. So if we go back to October 10th, we're actually at the same levels as we were then. So we saw that really strong pre-sell-off as the market was preempting that bad news coming in at 8.2%. Obviously, expectations slightly lower at 8.1 from most banks. So it did come in a little bit higher. I think what was more shocking, though, wasn't the inflation data itself, because if we look at month to month, it was actually down on the previous month, and that was down on the month before. So at face value, it's like inflation's actually coming down. This is a good thing. The Fed's job's working. But if you flick over to the core CPI, which is the inflation data minus food, minus electricity, that's actually up 0.3% on the month. And that has been steadily increasing. So I guess the Fed's job isn't done yet. And this is why the market did react so negatively at first, is because there's a long road ahead of us in terms of rate hikes if they are serious about getting inflation down.
Yeah, so I mean, look, I think leading into it, everyone was freaking out, and we just had a massive dump across the markets, hoping that or we just preempting that the data was going to be really bad. Luckily, we have been having a strong support at 18.5K with the Bitcoin price, and as usual, the support at 18.5 just seems to be an absolute rock for Bitcoin at the moment, which has been amazing. So we got a bounce straight out of that, which was nice. But just some interesting data here. This from the banks. This was what all the banks predicted leading into this. And it's pretty scary that all these dudes who are considering themselves to be the best finance people in the world are so far off the mark in relation to this kind of stuff. Like, it seems crazy to me.
They were all 0.1 behind. And I think that's why we saw that massive dump after the data, because like it genuinely was coming in a bit hot over expectations. But interesting, as you said, we did see that recovery, and I really just put that down to the fact that markets were a little too preemptively bearish. And once the stock market reversed, given Bitcoin's relative correlation, still Bitcoin was pretty tuned to reverse after. Just before we get into the next point, though, if you are watching the show, thank you very much. We stream twice a week. It's called Bits of Crypto. And make sure you smash the like button to show the people we're here. And subscribe if you're not subscribed. I highly recommend doing so.
Put a bell on.
Content. The bell as well, because if you want to know when we're live, we're going to go live, keep you guys updated with whatever craziness happens in this market, and hopefully help you guys navigate the crazy world of crypto as well. So click that bell button and subscribe if you haven't.
While we're in this phase, bro, why don't we just give a quick shout out to Block Wallet?
Yeah, thanks for Block Wallet for supporting the show. They're essentially a wallet, kind of like a MetaMask wallet, but also more UI focused. So they have a very good UI. They have inbuilt wallet swaps. And honestly, I actually started personally using Block Wallet as one of my wallets of choice. I've got multiple wallets on Google Chrome. So I recommend checking them out. Link in the description if you want to try out a new wallet. It's been a good experience.
So just back to CPI. This whole thing, as Meet Kevin has said, is just a complete disaster. The mega hikes are likely, and in the near term, the rents have been risen by 32%. This is going to lead to more inflation and more people being priced out of the housing market, which is clearly not good for the US and probably going to, I don't know, necessarily slow down the Fed.
Can you
I
pull
don't
up
think it's going to have any effect.
Can you pull up the rate hike probability data? I believe it's in a few links time, sorry, to the right. Just that one, yeah.
That one here.
Or the
Here
one,
we go.
yeah, that one.
Yeah,
so basically, what Meet Kevin is saying is the probability of a 75 or 100 BPS hike is now significantly higher. So we were hoping for a best case scenario of a 50 BPS hike. Now we see the probability is strongly in favor of the 75. We obviously have the Fed meeting on the 2nd of November, a slightly smaller chance of a 100 now. We didn't even think that was a possibility before. Now it is a possibility. It wasn't even on the cards. So that's why he's saying it was a complete disaster, because they are going to have to act aggressively here. But if they act aggressively, they do run the risk of further damaging the world economy, which was seen by the raising US dollar. So it's a very tricky situation.
Yeah, not only that, it's the blowback they're getting from the banks worldwide as well. The sovereign debt that just keeps increasing. These countries are having to pay more and more and more in their interest payments every year, and eventually it's gonna get to a point where companies or countries start defaulting on their loans, and then everything just goes pear-shaped.
I agree. The US has to, at some point, the US has to pivot. It's basically inevitable. I don't think it's a question of if, it's a question of when. And that pivot may happen sooner than we think. And when that pivot does happen, I mean, an asset like Bitcoin, which is essentially your umbrella for money printing, is going to be an asset that accrues value. So it's really not a question of if, it's a timeline question. And that's what we have to work out as investors in order to kind of put our investing plan going forward.
Yeah, and Ted came up with a good one here, is the core inflation print at levels not seen in 40 years. But funnily enough, Bitcoin has a green day, as are US equities, which is incredible. So you can see on the chart, this was leading into the CPI data, and we literally just bounced in V-shaped recovery and got the hell straight out of there. So I kind of feel very sorry for any of the bears out there, because literally, if you were a bear shorting 18.5, this was you. Boom!
Oh,
have
my
fun,
goodness.
bears! Whoa!
Oh, no. The Bears got wrecked.
I would not. The Bears got wrecked. The Bears got absolutely wrecked. And look, the strange thing is we're literally back where we have been for the last, I mean, what are we talking here? It's been almost 6 days. So it's been a week, and we have literally been sitting in this range between 19,600 and 19,000. We went down, we dropped out of it, but we've pulled straight back into it. So, I mean, it's a massive bear trap. There was a lot of bearish sentiment out there. So anyone who shorted the bottom end of that really probably got fucking wrecked. So then here's this one here. This is in relation to CPI, just what's increased. We've had a massive increase on fuel, other things like gas, electricity, transportation. Now, food costs are going up. Just everything overall is going up. And I think everyone all over the world is feeling this pinch right now. I know that I sat down and even went through my budget the other day for the first time. And I think this is kind of hitting a lot of people all over the world. But what is interesting... Oh, what were you going to say, Miles? Sorry.
I was going to say, it's funny. You're sitting there doing your budget. I'm weighing up whether I should buy this Montclair jacket tomorrow. I've got a real spending problem. I'm trying to rein it in, but man, just the urge for retail therapy just kills me. So luckily I'm in the country now, so I've got a decision to make over the next day whether I do go shopping. Someone in the comments, please urge me not to.
Don't. I said go buy it. That was what I said. My comment was just go buy it. Just get on it.
No,
just have a good time.
I gotta save. I could put that 2-3 grand into crypto, but instead, I know. That into 30 grand next cycle.
So what is interesting is the White House has released a statement that was given by Joe Biden in relation to the CPI output. And he's come out and he's running behind the fact that he believes that it's down 11% from the previous quarter. And he's kind of citing the fact that within this space of time, he's trying to introduce something called the Inflation Reduction Act. And this is looking at a few different ways where they can save more money, which sounds more like of a get out of jail free card for some areas. But I mean, there are a few good things in here. But also he's using this as saying that the Republicans are trying to stop this and they're going to basically push prices up and not down. It's probably worth having a quick look. But it gives the kind of general sentiment leading into this kind of midterm election where Joe Biden's obviously trying to get everyone psyched up. We did have this of him just coming out and giving us a quick little look in as to what actually is going to be going on. He's pretty excited about the midterm elections, I think. So this is him just getting ready, getting match fit for the midterm elections. He's getting pretty G'd up with it. But look, overall, I think this guy, things aren't looking good moving into the midterm elections for Joe Biden. But yeah, CPI's stuffed, and that wraps this CPI section up. What do you reckon? We're done. Done with that. Let's get on.
That was some fun.
So Bitcoin, 19,400 V-shaped recovery.
I got to ask you, what are you seeing for? I'll put you on the spot here. What are you seeing for Bitcoin in the near future? Obviously, we're range bound. Obviously, we're moving sideways.
Yeah.
But do you think the probability is to the upside or the downside at the moment?
I think from where we are now, probability I think is upside for me.
Okay.
I kind of feel that we've been range bound at the lower end of the range though for too long. And the probability of a move high it just feels, especially when you're talking about this type of thing, we were talking about that 18,500 support before, it just feels really strong. And I don't see it breaking down anytime soon. So the fact that we've bounced out of it so strongly again, to me, just indicates that the price doesn't want to sit below, and it definitely doesn't want to sit below for very long. So my feeling is that we will see upside, probably pushing up to this kind of $21,000 number where we may get a rejection. And that's where we could potentially visit the lower end of this 18,500, but I'm still feeling it's quite unlikely at the moment.
I still think there's definitely a strong chance the 18.5 to 19K region gets retested. I still do think though, similar to like El Capo and Trader SC and these other guys, I still think that eventually we do need to come up and test those higher levels as well. At least in the shorter term. I never saw this bear market as a Bitcoin going straight down to 15, 12K and just hanging there thing. It's definitely going to be a process that involves many bull traps, many bear traps. And I think what is kind of like the more likely scenario, and maybe this isn't great for altcoins, is kind of like Bitcoin slowly bleeds down to its bottom, and then we also get the altcoins kind of bleeding alongside it until essentially there's like a confirmation of a breakout. That the period that plays out on really depends on the current macroeconomic environment. But I mean, yeah, it could be anywhere from 6 months to a few years. So we just have to keep our eye on it and play things as it comes. But I will say, at the moment, personally, I don't think if you have a long-term mindset that accumulating some of these quality assets is a bad idea right now.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Be careful of, like, especially like your L1s, your Bitcoins, Ethereums. The longer your time horizon, the less picky you need to be on your entries. But if you have a shorter time horizon and you love the altcoins and the riskier stuff, then of course you got to be a lot more picky. That's where a lot of people got wrecked last cycle. And that's where I've made mistakes as well. But the safer assets, long term, something like a Bitcoin, I don't really give a crap if I buy it 15, 20, 10K.
No, when you're talking about a 2 to 5% difference in price, or maybe even a 10% difference in price now, but then holding that over the next 2 or 3 years, I mean, it's not worth missing out on that for the sake of saving yourself an additional 5 or 10% at this lower end of the spectrum. I mean, you want to be getting logic.
That logic applies mostly to those majors, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some
only. I think only to those majors, really. Like anything else, you got to really question. Why are we buying? How long are we holding?
Exactly.
And then why?
So
I mean, look. Sorry, go on.
You treat everything in your portfolio differently. You treat your Bitcoin and your Ethereum differently to how you treat your AVAX or your NIA, differently to how you treat your Synapse or Beefy Finance. Like that's all completely different, right? So that's basically the essence of it.
And that could lead into our next segment.
Quickfire.
Yeah, but the reason I wanted to go into that off the back of what we were just talking about, was here is a look at some of the exchanges at the moment and the monthly fees that they're bringing down. And I think this kind of goes onto the back end of the point that we were talking about, because this is a good way to kind of judge, or the way I like to judge, whether or not any of these tokens / exchanges / businesses have runway and the potential to survive for the next 2 to, let's say, 5 years. And for me, when you're looking at something like Uniswap and PancakeSwap, and now GMX, which has just come out of absolutely nowhere to take this, you're talking about things that have the potential income to keep going during any market. And these are starting to all look like, really, all three of them, and that's right, I'm saying Pancake as well, and I'm saying Uniswap, are all starting to look like really, really, really good buys to me at this really, really low level, because they're all down. Everything's down. But when you're talking about making this much cash, these guys are going to be around for a while.
They're going to get low, of course. I do think they get lower, but these are the kind of ones you can look at on your accumulation list. GMX, in my opinion, looks slightly overbought at least in the short term.
Yeah,
I think that the hype will die down there eventually. But your Uniswaps and your Pancakes, I mean, they underpin two major ecosystems. Uni underpins Ethereum. It's the main AMM. It's where the most liquidity lies. PancakeSwap at the same time, like BNB is a token that I really like long term, and I put that in the upper echelon of projects that I'd want to be accumulating. So I put PancakeSwap in that riskier bracket, but it's a subset of BNB. So it's something that when the market really gets to that point where you're like, okay, now's the time to buy these small caps. PancakeSwap's one of them. I wouldn't call PancakeSwap a small cap, but it still like holds an element of risk more so than some of these other projects. Mark Jeffrey here, by the way. Appreciate your support, bro. GMX has been crazy. You're right. GMX
been going off. Has been going off.
Their fees are incredible. The only problem I see with GMX is just the valuation is getting a little bit crazy considering its peers. I think a GNS might offer more upside, but for me, I feel like if you aren't in GMX now, I wouldn't be buying now. I think the hype will cool down, and then at that point, if you still believe the protocol is superior to its peers, then I would be buying GMX. DYDX, however, that's a different proposition altogether with their L1 on Cosmos.
Just jumping on, just another little piece of news that we wanted to go over today is that there's been some more stuff going on with the XRP, SEC and XRP case. Now, I'm not a massive follower of this, but one of the things I really, really did like and that I wanted to show is that SEC or Ripple now have these alternate companies that are starting to come in as what they're calling friends of a court. Now, that means that they're allowed to give evidence to the court. And now these guys are all in favor of XRP and Ripple, because they're companies that actually use the XRP token as a settlement layer, and as a way to settle money. So these guys are coming in and they're basically providing evidence to the court that XRP is not a security. And overall, I think this is going to be really good for the space. Although I'm not massive on XRP, I do like the fact that they're starting to get this kind of backing from other companies that are using XRP for what it was originally created for, which is really cool. I think we've lost you, bro. We've lost you there.
No, I'm on mute.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
There's a gardener outside. I'm just trying to be on mute. I was going to say the unique thing about XRP is kind of like the relative strength it's showing off the back of what we assume will be an SEC win. The sooner this happens, the better for XRP. But I think the strength it has shown over the past few weeks really indicates how the market views this case. And definitely, I think, although I'm not a huge XRP fan in terms of a long-term hold, I prefer other projects. That's just my personal opinion. XRP does seem to be one at the same time, though, that will probably rally the strongest if there's a rally, just because it has that really strong community and hopefully a favorable case supports that as well. So it's interesting update.
Okay. Okay, play of the day. We like to just give you a little take of what's going on. Now, sadly, my play of the day has just been missed, but my play of the day was a long on Algo, which I did cover this morning on Instagram. Miles and I do some streams on Instagram, and I do a couple of streams on Insta as well. So I did put this long in this morning with the crew on Insta. Hopefully a few people got in. I was going to go over it again today because it hadn't popped yet, but literally a few minutes ago before we started streaming, it popped. So I'm sorry, but that was the play of the day. unfortunately.
The play of
but
the day
also,
is done.
the play of the day is done.
I don't have a specific play of the day, but I got a couple things that will create plays of the days long term. The first thing is we're relaunching our DGen's Den show on Crypto Banter on a Sunday night.
Bang.
We're going to be live trading there. So that is going to be abundant with plays. Maybe some of them are just for fun, but that's going to be really, really fun. So Sunday night, we're bringing back that show on Crypto Banter.
We're back, baby. We're back. Back by popular demand.
Back by popular demand.
We saw Raul Paul give it a crack with some red wine, and we were like, this guy is a pussy. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's trying to rip off what we started, so we're bringing it back.
We're going to bring it back. So that'll have plays in the day. That's in a few days. But then also, also we are very active on the Instagram. There's links in the description to that for trading related stuff as well. But of course, we will give plays of the day in the show when they're fit. We gave a few great ones last week. You had a 10x play of the day 3 days ago.
I did have a 10x
or 3
play
shows ago.
It was what did we do? We did it was on
Tamadoge.
It was Tamadoge, and it was a great call.
You literally, so he told you guys Tamadoge is going to explode a week ago, or was it 2 weeks ago?
It was. Then, I'll tell you exactly when it was.
At its peak, it was up 11x since you called it. It's fucked.
Yeah,
congrats
so
to anyone that got on that, by the way. Congrats.
We called it over here at 2 cents on the. Here we go. Sorry. We called it over here on the show at 2 cents, and if you got out at 19 cents, you would have made it a what's that? A 9x.
Wow.
And that all happened really quick, and now we're back down here still reaccumulating. And I don't know, I'm not going to call this again. As far as shitcoins are concerned, I was looking at Quack the other day, if you wanted to go down that path, but that could be another pump and dump. But I reckon that's us for the day, bro. Do you want to give another shout out to Block Wallet?
Yeah, shout out to Block Wallet. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Link in the description. If you need a new crypto wallet and you are sick of MetaMask, definitely give Block Wallet a go. Awesome.
Cool. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Sweet.
See you on Sunday.